In Game 1 of the semifinals in the 2013 Magic World Championships, in a best-of-5 match between limited legend Ben Stark and up-and-coming young talent Shahar Shenhar, Stark would take a lightning bolt to the face, dropping his life total from 3 to 0 and moving the players into Game 2. Shahar would go on to win that match, and then upset Reed Duke in the finals to become the world champion, a title he would defend a year later at Worlds 2014 in Nice, France. Winning that tournament crowned him the first player in the history of the game to ever win back-to-back world championships, a feat that has not been matched since. Now, pointing a lightning bolt at an opponent on 3 life is nothing noteworthy, but what if I told you Ben Stark died with 2 Sphinx's Revelations, 2 Snapcaster Mages, and a Cryptic Command in hand, with a life-saving Lightning Helix on the stack? In addition, Shahar had 0 blue spells in his hand. His 1 card remaining after Lightning Bolt was just a Restoration Angel. To top it off, there were 22 lands in play between both players, and Shahar was not playing Burn. So how did that bolt win the game? In June of 2017, Wizards of the Coast announced a mystery product called Iconic Masters, scheduled to be unveiled at HasCon later that year. Part of the set's appeal would be its complete lack of a preview season. The exclusive attendees of the convention would be the first to ever play with the set, offering a unique booster pack opening experience unseen since Magic's very early years. Before Twitter and the internet at large, players would resort to magazines like InQuest and The Duelist to learn about new cards, and even then, speculation about what a card did based only on its name meant that the perfect information we now routinely possess was rewarded only to the most devoted fans who did their research. Now, whether or not Wizards achieves their goal of keeping Iconic Masters under wraps until launch day is not the point of this video. Rather, I'm much more interested in that word, iconic, and what it means to Magic, because there are a handful of cards that are indisputably going to be part of that set. We can nearly guarantee that Sarah Angel, Shivan Dragon, and Counterspell will make the cut. Making a similar case for Lightning Bolt is a bit reductive, though, as I doubt any players would argue against its candidacy for inclusion. So I want to look instead at the card as an icon itself. What about it embodies Magic as a whole? And why, after 25 years, does this card still stand as such a strong point of reference for the game's designers and players alike? In other words, what makes Lightning Bolt so damn special? See, I like that question because even the game's most entrenched veterans will respond with a wide range of differing ideas. Let's start with some history. Lightning Bolt is as old as Magic itself. Appearing first in Alpha, it was Red's representative in what is called the Boon Cycle, a series of 5 instants for 1 mana that offered casters 3 of something relating to the spell's corresponding color. Making up the Boon Cycle are 5 cards that would set the tone for the game's 5 colors, some better than others.
So, with the Boon, I thought in fleshing out the colors that making something which represented the essence of that color in each would make a good skeleton for the game.
For example, Ancestral Recall, the blue spell of the bunch, allows players to draw 3 cards at instant speed for 1 mana. It has since been banned and restricted for its raw power, and even Richard Garfield, the game's creator, knew it was broken before Alpha hit the printing presses. White's Boon, Healing Salve, has had an opposite effect on the game. Preventing 3 damage or gaining 3 life is next to useless, rendering it the weakest of the bunch by far. Green got Giant Growth, the fairest and most reprinted card of the cycle. Black saw Dark Ritual, which I would rank right behind Ancestral Recall in terms of power level, and right in the middle was Lightning Bolt. Here I believe is the first instance of what makes Bolt iconic. From the beginning, it has established exactly what Red cares about most, and its ability to focus the color's main goals is partially a stroke of luck, and largely a testament to its ability to stay relevant. From Lightning Bolts would branch an entire series of what would later be called burn spells, cards that deal direct damage to creatures, players, or both. The thing is, since 1993, no card does Lightning Bolt better than Lightning Bolt. Many are imitators, following in function or in name. As of Hour of Devastation, 45 red cards have the word lightning in them, most of which burn things just like Bolt. Compare this to Ancestral Recall. Not only are there far fewer ancestral cards, but they bleed into other colors and hardly reference drawing cards. Sure, blue has established itself as the game's best color for generating card advantage, but I don't think that is its main goal or even greatest strength now.
So, for example, card draw used to be specifically blue, and that's been moved around some because it was too rich a mechanic just to lock up with blue.
Dark Ritual is even further from Black's current position on the color pie. What I'm saying is, Lightning Bolt is iconic because after 25 years, it still represents its color to a T. Not only that, but the name itself can stand alone even outside of the context of the game. Ask the uninitiated to make their best guess at what Lightning Bolt does in Magic, and I bet you'd get far closer results than posing the same question subbing with Ancestral Recall or Dark Ritual. Card names are vital for bringing people into the game, and Bolt's simplicity acts as a stepping stone between the real world and one of high fantasy. Tell people that they are role-playing as a powerful wizard, pulling mystical spells from a metaphorical library represented by a stack of cards, and maybe they can play along. Show them lightning bolts and tell them they can throw the thunder like Zeus, and suddenly we have a game. Here's the other half of a good name. It lends itself to shorthand. I can say bolt to any Magic player and they know exactly what I mean. 99% would never need to read the card in the middle of a game, and simply saying bolt you for lethal and flashing the card from my hand is enough to grant a concession. The same goes for so many of the game's most iconic cards. Force, mill, counter, path, all are nouns that have been simplified and turned into verbs which describe functions of the game. I know this is partially a symptom of linguistic flexibility and context. I can't say ooze, for example, and be sure you know I'm talking about scavenging ooze and not necrotic ooze. But Lightning Bolt's being reduced to bolt is not just a nickname. It has become part of the game's vocabulary and acts as a stand-in that can reference any card with a similar function. Consider Bolt the Bird. Sure, this has become a saying that references a ubiquitous play sequence in the game's eternal formats, which is just shorthand for cast lightning bolts targeting birds of paradise.
And so you have to make a hard decision early in the game with not much information. Do I bolt the bird? What do you think, Randy?
But it can also mean, on a larger scale, kill a turn 1 mana producing creature.
I've been trained over the last 20 years. You just kill the bird.
That's definitely the conventional wisdom.
It's not just an interaction between two cards, but a fundamental strategy of playing Magic well at a high level.
And the bird gets bolted, and in fact it is an actual lightning bolt on an actual Birds of Paradise.
So there you go.
Bolt the Bird is a mantra. It opens the door for players to learn the importance of resource management. On the flip side, Bolt Snap Bolt has become a Magic catchphrase too, and is one that comes up when debating some of the game's most powerful combos and play patterns. Here is another reason that Lightning Bolt is an iconic card. It teaches both players and developers about the system it inhabits. Rewinding the clocks back again, Magic did not always have a limitation on the number of cards a player can run in a single deck. Richard Garfield never thought players would buy enough product to face such a problem. He was wrong, of course, and degenerate decks became rampant without the 4-of rule. Lightning Bolt helped shift the discussion for early R&D to create this rule. Running 40 lightning bolts and 20 mountains in a 60-card deck was one strategy that proved nigh unstoppable in the game's early years. Limiting multiples of a single card to 4 in one deck solved this issue, in part thanks to Bolt. Fast forward to now, Lightning Bolt is a standard metric for analyzing a creature's toughness. It is the reference point when asking, is this card good enough to see eternal play? Does it die to Bolt? A myriad of articles have been written that dissect this question, and Bolt's ultra efficiency is the reason for the ongoing discussion. Of course, because of this, Lightning Bolt has always been in the crosshairs for a potential banning. Up until the printing of Fatal Push, it was the premier removal spell in Modern, and any deck running red would be unfit without a playset of 4 Lightning Bolts. Card strength, although not the main determinant for analyzing what makes a card iconic, certainly plays into the equation here. Bolt is just a good card, plain and simple, which is why it has been part of the game for so long. Mark Rosewater knows this too, and after discussing the card with other developers in March of 2017, he came to the conclusion that it is more powerful than Path to Exile because of its ability to hit players. See, Lightning Bolt is iconic because even in the face of power creep, it has conversely gotten better with age. With the printing of Planeswalkers back in Lorwyn came another hidden mode in Lightning Bolt's rules text. The ability to redirect damage to Planeswalkers meant that, in many game states, the card could kill them in one hit. That type of reach is partially what led to Shenhar's victory. If any of the game's greatest minds were to predict how this blue-white-red control mirror against Ben Stark would play out, I doubt any of them would say victory by lightning bolts. Yet, going back to Game 1, that was the exact recipe for success. This game is far and beyond one of my favorites I've ever watched. It is a masterclass in patience and, given the player's combined skill level, a perfect example of Bolt's versatility. For the first 9 or 10 turns of the game, both players simply played lands and passed the turn back and forth, neither wishing to put a spell on the stack out of fear of a counter war. Eventually, Shahar is the first to present a threat with Vendilion Click, which Stark allows to resolve.
This is impressive. You realize this is like turn 9 or 10 of the game. 0 spells have been cast. Here we are breaking the ice with a Vendilion Click.
Shenhar targets himself and cycles a path to exile. At this point, LSV sees Bolt as a dead card. The game slowly grinds down as players jockey for board presence. They exchange win conditions and counterspells and even celestial colonnades to tectonic edges, which acts as both decks' main finisher. In the mid-game, Ben is far ahead of Shahar and should win this game.
Ben is ahead here, though. Make no mistake, he's behind on life totals, but if you look at Ben's hand, the fact that he's got 3 counterspells and a Snapcaster and a Revelation to Shahar's hand of basically lightning bolts, plus the, nearly useless path to exile means that this is Ben's game to win.
But at a certain juncture, the top of the deck reveals a line of play that even LSV thought impossible as means to end this game.
Ooh. That was one of Shahar's best draws, the 4th Bolt.
Yep.
And with the help of a seemingly irrelevant fetch land, Shahar pulls the trigger on his own end step.
So it looks like Shahar's gonna bolt Ben. Shahar's gonna bolt Ben. When Shahar goes for the lethal bolt, Ben's gonna helix, then Shahar's gonna have the 4th bolt to trump that.
And there's the lightning helix.
Response, lightning bolt, Chief.
It's a good way to steal it, I think.
I think so.
And as Ben actually just stole the game, or Shahar just stole the game, as Ben said.
Good game!
As both Ben Stark and the commentary team stated, Lightning Bolt stole that game out of nowhere. Funnily enough, none of this would have been possible without its reprinting in the M10 core set. Prior to then, Lightning Bolt last appeared in 4th edition, which leads me to my final point about its status as an iconic card. As most experienced players know, Bolt's original artwork was done by Christopher Rush, a name that holds weight in the game's Hall of Fame. Rush was responsible for not only some of the game's most noteworthy cards, which have since become images of nostalgia for longtime vets, but also for the mana symbols that are still used to represent the 5 colors of Magic. Players also know that very recently, in 2016, we lost Christopher Rush. Already a coveted piece of memorabilia, signed Alpha and Beta Lightning Bolts have become even more precious with his passing. In Magic 2010, when Lightning Bolt was reprinted, it arrived with 2 significant changes. The first, it had flavor text. Agreeing to reprint Bolt was the subject of great debate within R&D, but Forsyth's main goal of developing a set around dramatic and controversial cards meant that Lightning Bolt absolutely needed to appear in the set. Standard was also at a safe spot to cushion Bolt's arrival, so they tested the waters. Not often does the game break the 4th wall. That sort of self-referencing is usually reserved for unsets. However, Lightning Bolt's flavor text here does exactly that. The Spark Mage shrieked, calling on the rage of the storms of his youth. To his surprise, the sky responded with a fierce energy he'd never thought to see again, it reads. I don't think anyone thought they'd see this card legal in Type 2, but it also meant modern players could harness the storm in the years to come as well. Now, as you can see, Christopher Rush's artwork was not present. In its place was an updated, more color-appropriate image done by Christopher Moeller, another legendary illustrator of the game. Depicting in his comic book-inspired way a silhouette beckoning the skies from atop a snowy cliff, this image of Lightning Bolt, I would argue, has become the mainstay for the game's later generations. Speaking again to its simplicity, the artwork is a lightning bolt. It is straightforward and exactly what you would imagine, which synchronizes with the rest of the card's features. But consider this. Christopher Moeller retired from contract work for Wizards of the Coast in early 2017.
So it's with very conflicted emotions that I announce my retirement from Magic.
This means for the second time in the game's history, artist-signed copies of the non-promo Lightning Bolts have reached their maximum supply. So looking again into the future, I wonder, what is in store for Lightning Bolt? Will it see a reprint in Iconic Masters? And if so, will another artist be given the opportunity to join the circle of legends who have provided such art before them? Will a new Bolt come with new flavor text that references another aspect of the game? Will it become too format warping and fall to the banhammer, thereby elevating its status as one of the game's most iconic cards? There's no such thing as bad PR, they say. No matter what, I see Lightning Bolt as the perfect mascot for Magic. It can teach us about game design and strategy, provide an example to follow when creating new cards, and act as a point of reference for measuring card power. It can also change the way we experience high-level competition. It has that unique ability of reshaping a game out of nowhere. The top of the deck is always relevant when Lightning Bolt is in the format, which makes for engaging viewer experiences and allows Magic's built-in variants to provide a thrilling spectacle. And more than that, I think Lightning Bolt is pivotal for introducing new players to the game. It is the source of countless stories and wild game moments, and is understandable to anyone away from the context of a battlefield. And when inquiring about what makes a card iconic, just remember that game between Shahar and Ben Stark. Thanks for watching. My channel is now a proud partner of Card Kingdom. Use cardkingdom.com/studies to help support the show. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, I want you to check out more card studies on my channel. I've done quite a few already, and if you don't want to go to my channel, then go to my website at risticstudies.com. The biggest news, as you guys can tell from that end screen, is now I'm a partner of Card Kingdom, which is super exciting. I've been holding out for these guys for quite a while, and I'm happy to join the team. So if you want to help support the show and buy Magic products, you guys know what to do. Just use the affiliate link /studies to do that. Okay, so as you know from my Patreon, I do signed cards every month. And of course, this month we're going to be signing Lightning Bolts. So if you'd like to support the show a little more directly, just go to my Patreon page and get yourself signed up with perks. All right, so you guys can get signed cards and your name alongside these lovely people in the credits. You know how we do. All right, if you have any specific stories about Lightning Bolts or little anecdotes you'd like to share, go ahead and leave a comment. You know what to do. And I will see you very soon for the next video. It will be a Magic Art Study, so welcome to my new place. I need to put up some art. I don't know if you know this, but Niels Holm sent me a piece of art, an alternate version of his mountain from M13 that I love so much, that I used in this video. So that's going to get framed very soon, and I promise you will be seeing that in one of the next videos to come up. All right, that's it. Mom got me this nice little cup from Disneyland, and I'm drinking coffee this morning. So thanks for watching, guys. Of course, I appreciate y'all. Cheers.